What's up, guys? It's HB Sports here, back with another video. And with week 6 of the college football season right on the horizon, I want to give my Saturday football predictions on this week. And before I get started, if you like this video and you want me to do college football predictions every week, then smash that like button and I will keep doing it every single week. So I haven't done videos for the first 5 weeks of the season, but it has been an absolute roller coaster. This season has been full of ups and downs, and while it cannot top 2007 with all those upsets, there's been a ton. And I have on the screen here a look at the preseason top 25 rankings of the college football season, and comparing it to now, it looks completely different. First, looking at the teams that have really dropped off, you got a team like Clemson. Obviously, everybody thought they would be vying for the top 5 spot and the national championship, but DJ Uyunglele, or Ukulele as the most Clemson haters call him, has fallen off a cliff. He has played absolutely terrible, and Clemson has looked like an unranked team, and they're no longer ranked. Teams like Wisconsin, they have fallen flat on their face, losing 3 games at home. Teams like Miami has looked absolutely terrible. I mean, talking about them, they got crushed by Alabama. They nearly lost to Appalachian State. They lost to Michigan. They have lost a lot, and they have struggled. Florida hasn't looked good either. They look good. Their best resume builder is a 2-point loss to Alabama, and they lost on the road at Kentucky last year, who is not that great of a team. They're a good team, but they're not great. So a lot of teams really dropping off compared to what we previously thought in the AP Top 25 preseason. But looking to what's going on right now in the Top 25, we got some big matchups going on. Last week did not live up to the hype. There was a couple pretty good top 25 matchups. Well, they're supposed to be pretty good in number 8 Arkansas at number 2 Georgia and number 12 Ole Miss at number 1 Alabama, but they both really flopped with the heavily favored teams, Georgia and Alabama, steamrolling over Arkansas and Ole Miss, and it wasn't even close. And I actually have Georgia as my number 1 personally, just because they put a 0 spot in Arkansas, and their defense is looking at another level. While Alabama, although Ole Miss is a very high-powered offensive team, they did give up 21 points. So that alone, I think I give the nod to Georgia. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. 1 and 2, you can interchange them. Looking at the first matchup on deck, right on cue, we have Arkansas, which dropped from 8 to 13, and Ole Miss, who also dropped 5 spots to 17, facing off at 12 o'clock on ESPN. Ole Miss is a 5.5-point favorite, and the over-under for this game is 66.5. All these bets are provided by Yahoo Sports, so I will be predicting my score as well as the odds for this game based on what the line is. So Ole Miss, with a high-powered offense, they struggled against Alabama. They moved the football, but they could not get the ball in the end zone, and it seemed like Lane Kiffin just went for every 4th down possible. So that didn't go well for them, and they basically got crushed by Alabama. And Arkansas, in a similar fashion, lost to Georgia, except that their offense got bageled. They got shut out 37-0. So this is looking to be a bounce-back game for Arkansas, who has been a pleasant surprise for all SEC fans and college football fans to see them in the top 25 after struggling for the past couple of years. But this game for me is almost a no-brainer. I think Ole Miss wins, and they win big. I think this is going to be a hangover from the Georgia loss for Arkansas. They will lose again. Ole Miss will cover 5.5. I think Ole Miss puts up 40, and they win 40-20. The second game on the docket that I will be talking about is the Red River rivalry, or the Red River Showdown, whichever you'd like to call it. Number 6 Oklahoma versus number 21 Texas on a neutral field in Dallas, Texas. This is played in a neutral field every year. Oklahoma 5-0, led by former Heisman favorite Spencer Rattler, now regular quarterback, because he has not been as good as formerly Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, and Kyler Murray, although there are lofty expectations the way they're doing right now in the NFL. But Spencer Rattler has not been that close to a Heisman candidate, and Oklahoma has had a lot of tough games. They have struggled to score the ball. Their defense has been playing better, but their offense has struggled. Meanwhile, Texas, they lost to Arkansas earlier in the season. They got manhandled on the road at Arkansas, but they have come back, won a couple straight, and they're back in the top 25. So this will be an interesting matchup. Oklahoma is favored by 3.5, and the way their games are going, I think this will be once again a close game. The over-under is at 63.5, which is not a lot for an Oklahoma game, considering they usually score 40 to 43 points. I think this game will be closer. I actually think that Texas will pull the upset. I think this will be a lower scoring game, but I think that Texas offense will come up strong. They'll come up big. Their defense will do just enough. And with this Oklahoma offense sputtering the last couple of weeks, I think this will show in the result column. They have escaped the past couple of weeks with wins, but I think this is where they slip off. And I think Texas gets to win 27-24, so I will take the upset on the line. Texas wins. And I predict this will be a 3-point Texas win and the over-under. This will hit the under. This will be a lower scoring game compared to usual, but I got Texas winning. Next game at 3:30 on ABC, we got number 10 BYU at home facing Boise State. BYU is favored by 6 points. And I'll tell you this, as a UCF fan, I went to the Boise State at UCF game, and Boise State did not look that impressive. And I think that they have 3 losses right now. They lost to a Mountain West opponent, I believe Nevada last week. So I think this will actually be an easy win for BYU. This will be a pretty easy prediction to make. I think BYU wins. They cover. I think they win big. I'll predict the score 33-17. I think BYU handles this pretty easily. They're at home, so I don't think it'll be a problem for them. Next game, we got another top 25 matchup. Number 2, Georgia, and number 18, Auburn. One of the big games, an SEC game, 3:30 on CBS. Number 2, Georgia, as I said earlier, just thrashed Arkansas last week to improve to 5-0. They shut them out, and their defense is on a records pace. I believe they've given up single-digit points. They have barely given up any yards. They do not give up rushing yards, and they don't give up passing yards either, obviously. And they're going on the road to face an Auburn team led by Bo Nix, who looked kind of shaky, but they did get a win last week on the road at LSU. They escaped, and they are 4-1. And UGA is heavily favored, although on the road, as they should be. So UGA is favored by 15.5 points, so just over 2 touchdowns. And then the over-under is at 46.5, which basically means it will be a defensive game, and I think it will. And I really don't think Auburn will be able to move the football. Although Bo Nix has been better for Auburn at home compared to on the road throughout his Auburn career, I don't think he'll get it done against Georgia. I think Georgia has a statement to make for them to be number 1, and they want to be number 1, and I think they've showed it throughout the entire year so far, and I think this will continue. I don't think the road will affect Georgia's defense. It could affect Georgia's offense. JT Daniels may or may not be back, the quarterback for Georgia. We'll see. But I think their offense will do enough. I think that Auburn will cover the spread. I think this will be a tight game, but I think Georgia will win 20-10. So I think this will be pretty low scoring. So next up, we got our game of the week. Number 4, Penn State at number 3, Iowa. At 4 o'clock p.m. on Fox. This will be a sensational game. And these games, Penn State at Iowa, have been nail-biters for the past pretty much 3, 4, 5 matchups in Kinnick Stadium. So this is going to be played in Iowa. Iowa is a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under is 40. This is going to be a defensive struggle. And it's so hard to predict. These two teams are so close. And really, we all both know both defenses are good. Penn State has had some impressive wins this season. They went on the road to beat Wisconsin in their opener. They beat IU at home last week, Indiana. And Iowa has just looked better and better throughout, and their defense has been absolutely ridiculous. I believe they gave up. They forced 7 turnovers on Maryland last weekend. 7 turnovers, including I think 6 interceptions. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. But I don't know what the thing is. If there's a defense that can be just as good, it is Penn State. They have looked ridiculously good. So this is going to be a low scoring game. Obviously, the odds show that with Iowa being just a 1.5 favorite, it will be that close of a game. There will just be that little points scored, and it's going to be so hard to predict. And I've gone back and forth on this game. I've really thought about who I really think is going to win, and I think Iowa at home gives them a massive edge because they play much better in Kinnick Stadium. But their offense has not been as good as the numbers say. They are scoring 33 points a game. So the numbers favor both of them, but I do believe that Penn State's offense is better. So going back and forth on this, I actually think Iowa, while their defense will be sensational, I don't think that Penn State will turn the ball over. I think Penn State will take care of the football, and I think they'll come out with a win here. So I think Penn State wins 17-16. I think their offense will do just enough. Iowa will have to be able to run the football for them to win. It will be difficult because this defense has been really good. But I do believe Penn State has been battle-tested against better teams than Iowa. They have played just as good, but I think they'll come up with a win. So I got Penn State winning 17-16. So that spread is close, but I think this is Penn State's year. I think they come out. They do just enough on offense. I think their offense is a difference. And I think their defense will shut down Iowa because Iowa at times has not looked that good offensively. And it's kind of been a staple for them. If they can't really run the football, it'll be difficult. So I think that Penn State comes out with the upset 17-16 in the game of the week, and that'll be a great one. So I got a couple left here. At 7:30 on ABC, we got number 9 Michigan at unranked Nebraska. This will be an interesting game, but not as interesting as the line says here. Michigan, just a 3.5-point favorite. Nebraska has stumbled out of the gate to start the season, but they recovered to a 3-3 record, while Michigan has steadily increased their rankings. They've got to 5-0. They finally got the elusive win that Coach Jim Harbaugh wants. He won on the road at Wisconsin, and it was a good win, but not so much to convince because Wisconsin just hasn't looked good. Their offenses look pretty bad. But the question here is, can Michigan run the football? Can they continue their success? If they can, they'll win. Period. Their defense is pretty good, and I think they can do enough to stop Nebraska. But if they can't run the football, I think it will be on that quarterback's hands for Michigan. I don't remember his name, but I don't think that's what Michigan wants. So if they can run the football, I think they'll have success. But I think that Michigan wins. I don't think Nebraska has enough talent to compete with them. I think Michigan will win. I think it will be closer. Nebraska's defense has really improved, and they have improved as a team since their opening day loss to Illinois. Their defense has looked pretty good against solid competition. And if Michigan can run the football, as I said, they will win. If Michigan cannot run the football, it will be a lot closer. But I think Michigan will be able to. They will toughen up on the lines of scrimmage. They'll get pressure after the Nebraska quarterback, Adrian Martinez, and they'll ultimately win. I think they'll play a ground and pound game, and they'll win 23-13. I think Michigan will win this game, and I think they'll improve to 6-0. Last game on my docket here, number 1 Alabama at unranked Texas A&M at 8 o'clock on CBS. So this is a CBS nighttime game. I believe this is the only one this season because usually Alabama, LSU will be primetime, but LSU has not looked good this season. So this most likely will be the CBS primetime game of the year. Number 1 Alabama and unranked Texas A&M. And Texas A&M has fallen off after being, I believe, top 7 in the AP polls during the preseason. They have not looked very good. Their starting quarterback got injured. Their defense is pretty good, but it can't last. It can't carry the entire time. And last week they lost to Mississippi State, and that was kind of the tipping point. So now they're unranked. They're 3-2, and they're facing a stacked Alabama team. Alabama is favored by 17.5. The over-under is 51.5. And it's hard to predict these scores depending on how the game goes. The number of points that a team will win. This is one of those games, 17.5. It depends how tight the game is going into the second half. I think Alabama wins easily. I don't think it's going to be a challenge. Texas A&M offense will not be able to move the football. I have no confidence. Their defense will play pretty well, I think. Their defense will hold up for 2.5 quarters. But I think Alabama will run away with this game. I think they'll put up a good amount of points. I would say 38-17 Alabama. I think they cover the spread. But that's one of those where, depending how the game goes, the score may go a little differently here and there. And 17.5, 2 or 3 touchdowns can be a big difference. So those types of games go either way. And that is it for my predictions. These are all the big games, in my opinion. There are plenty more games on the schedule for Saturday. And I hope you guys enjoy your college football Saturday. And hopefully your favorite team wins. So if you like these predictions, let me know in the comment section below. Smash that like button, and hopefully I can provide more week to week. Have a good day, guys.